Now you go to the interior of the defensive line, because it feels like the one thing that we know is that basically this group is set. It looks like we've got the starters for this group. In the middle at nose tackle, looks like it's going to be East Carolina transfer CJ Mims. This is a guy that, again, one of the more experienced guys on the line, but this is going to be the first time in his career that he will be a full-time starter. Last year, in 339 snaps, finished with 23 total tackles, 4 tackles for loss, a sack and a half, 8 quarterback pressures, and a forced fumble. Very solid production, but again, is he a guy that is capable of sort of doubling those types of numbers this year in Carolina's system, where he'll be playing a little bit of a different role? He's put on the weight, and now he's going to be playing that nose tackle spot. Carolina's hoping he's a guy that's going to be able to help them in the run game and allow them to slow down the run a little bit more consistently than they were able to do last year.
Yeah, and he's also making the jump from the group of 5 level to the power conference level. With that comes just a different level of physicality that he's not used to seeing. But I think the biggest thing that you have to like is that he put the weight on. And so he's, that's the first sign, I guess, is being unselfish, is being asked to come in here, play a different role than what you're used to playing. With that, you've got to change your body. And he did that over the offseason. And I think this is going to be a guy that I think it's going to be really fun to see him kind of operate in the middle of that defense. As you mentioned there at that nose position, can he be a guy that can he take on blockers and really be able to plug gaps and holes and let these linebackers get downhill and make plays? Can he do that on a consistent basis? Can he win his one-on-one battles to make the job easier for the guys behind him? So if I remember correctly, when he transferred in, there was a little bit of buzz and excitement about him as a player. I think I remember this fan base getting a little bit excited about him. I don't know why, because I don't watch ECU football enough to get excited about any of their players outside when they beat NC State in the bowl game, hopefully beat NC State in their season opener. But nonetheless, I think there's a nice energy, a nice buzz around him. I think it's a good thing for him that he knows kind of 3 weeks out that he's going to be a starter. He knows what the role is going to be, what's going to be expected of him. And it's going to be, I think, pretty cool to see what he does there in the middle of this 3-4 defense. So really excited to see what CJ Mims is doing. And that's me being as optimistic as I can be, because it's really hard to give praise to a program like ECU that's kicked my ass and most of my years as a Carolina football fan.
Well, don't worry. You'll get comfortable with it on the defensive side of the football, because Gavin Gibson is also a starting nickelback for the team. So he will be another guy that we will be talking about at some point. I mean, look, the thing with CJ Mims is it's always tough when you have to put on weight and you have to play a different position. So for him, I think –
Speak for yourself. I have no problem putting on weight.
Yeah, I mean, trust me, we can put on the weight pretty easily. If you need part of our nutrition plan, and you will. No, I watched the video that Carolina put up earlier today. Trust me, them boys are eating very, very well and eating the way that they are supposed to. But I mean, look, with CJ Mims, I think the biggest thing is just coming in here and finding a way to be consistent as the year goes along. I don't expect him to be a guy that's going to be perfect out of the gate. But as the season goes along, can you be a guy that can help this team consistently slow down the run in those A and B gaps? If you can be that guy, then I think that's what Carolina's looking for, because we haven't had a consistent force in there. And maybe he's a guy that can get after the quarterback as well. I'm looking more towards his partner, who we'll talk about here in just a second, along the defensive line as that guy. But you never really know. That's what you are hoping for out of those positions, because in years past, this is the thing. Carolina's had the talent at these positions. They've had Jabari Ritzie. They've had Travis Shaw. They've had other guys at this position that you feel really good about when you first land them. And then when they get here and they actually get on the field, it never really translates. I mean, you talked last year about how fast of a start Carolina's defensive line got off to. Well, it was really Jabari Ritzie. He got off to a great start, was getting after the quarterback, and then that disappeared as the year went along, and there was nowhere else where he was noticeable. He was not a guy that was able to slow down the run, and he wasn't able to create consistent pass rush, and so he became a guy that was relatively ineffective. And Carolina had to go with a rotation there. Now, they still are going to have to rotate guys at this position, but you're just looking for someone that's a consistent threat, that you know what they bring to the table. They're going to bring it every single week. And hopefully CJ Mims is a guy that can help Carolina stop the run.